I'd like to welcome everyone to the second graduate symposium from the Department of Computer Science at William & Mary. I would like to welcome all in-person and virtual attendees. So this is a hybrid event. So we have here several people, of course, from William & Mary. We have our Provost, the Chief Academic Officer. We have the computer science professors and graduate students, but we also have several prospective students who are interested from actually all over the world. Several from Virginia, and here you can see the list of places people from Virginia are coming from. We have actually several in-person people from the rest of the US. We came from as far as California, and also several from the East Coast. And finally, all these virtual attendees from all around the world. Several countries: Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Colombia, South Korea, Greece, and I'm especially talking about Greece not because I'm Greek, but because William & Mary has a special relationship with Greek universities through the IAPP Greece program. Iran, Saudi Arabia, India, and China. We have a very exciting day ahead. First, we will start with the Provost remarks, Peggy Agouris, our Chief Academic Officer. Then we will continue with the remarks from the Graduate Dean, Carone. Then I will continue with my remarks about the computer science program in general. Dennis Poshyvanyk, who is our graduate director, will talk specifically about the graduate program. And then we have like a lot of activities, research talks, lightning talks, faculty and student panels, poster session, and in general, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to ask questions. Before we go to the Provost for her remarks, I would like to thank everyone who made this happen. The generous support that came from the Provost's office, the Dean's office, and the Vice Provost of Research, and of course, all the organizers, CS faculty and staff, and computer science graduate students. Thank you all. And Dr. Agouris, please come for your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smirni, and thank you all for being here today on a Saturday morning. As Dr. Smirni said, my name is Peggy Agouris, and I am the provost of this institution, which is something that I enjoy thoroughly every day because my job allows me to get to know and work with and support and further all the aspects of the academic mission of this institution. So it is a pleasure to be connected with all those who are in the trenches in our pursuit for academic excellence at William & Mary. I also want to take the opportunity to thank everybody who is joining us virtually, as Dr. Smirni said, from around the world, and of course our Virginia institutions and the United States. This is not the first time that this event occurs. We had this event occur last year, and I think it was before that too, right? No, last year was the first one. And I have to tell you, I don't want to really spoil the surprise, but this is promising to be a very exciting and a very informative event. So I would like to encourage you all to participate as deeply and as widely as you can. So I also want to mention that my academic home is the Department of Computer Science. Even though I'm not a computer scientist in the traditional sense, I worked in my career in a lot of areas which are part of the computing world. And I can say I know very well firsthand the excellence and the quality of the work that is going on in computer science at William & Mary, but also the breadth and depth and importance of the research and the opportunities that exist in computer science at William and Mary. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to expand the horizons of how we contribute to the world and what the world needs today. And I don't need to tell you, all of you are interested and have experience that is relevant to computing. I don't need to tell you how critical it is what we do today to further the boundaries and the horizons of work and research and learning in this area. This is a field, or actually a collection of areas of work and excellence and learning that is changing very rapidly every day, practically, which makes it very special. Not only because it is exciting to be ahead of what's happening, but also because it really allows us to use imagination and thinking outside what everybody else is seeing today. It also poses some interesting challenges. How do we prepare our students to excel and to thrive in a world where change is happening so fast and it's so embedded in the things that we do? So what we're doing at William and Mary is we pay tremendous attention to the curriculum. We have placed emphasis in graduate education because this is the chance that our students have to delve deeper into fundamental issues and interesting experiences, and also learn how to think in a way that prepares them for a future of evolution and discovery. And I think that we have perfected that in computer science at William and Mary. Again, I'm saying this as being the chief academic officer of this institution and having the opportunity to work very closely with the people who are working in these areas. So at William and Mary, we also believe very, very strongly that educators are multifaceted people. And they are not just great teachers in the classrooms, which we are, and we are very proud of that. And we want to maintain that, and we do everything in our power to do so. But we're also cutting edge researchers, and most importantly, mentors. So mentorship for our students occurs not only during an hour or two of a lecture, but it occurs in the lab, it occurs outside the lab, it occurs in the conversations about careers, about growth, and about the world that is coming. So providing experiences that are not only critical towards getting a degree, but also providing hands-on experiences that are valuable for careers and being marketable in a world where there's tremendous competition, but also tremendous need, is very important at William and Mary. And I can assure you that this is what our computer science department is and does. We have an approach that it is much more connected to the future than it is to the past, even though we are an institution 330 years old. Our tradition is innovation, and we have been innovative throughout our 330 years. And we take a more innovative approach to what we do that allows us to really make a statement about the future of our graduates, because they are not just participating in their education, they're leading. And so when it comes time for professional accomplishments, they are the leaders that lead others in these areas. And that is in industry, in government, and in academia. So what we have really done as a distinguished institution, as a public Ivy, one of 8 institutions that have this designation, is to really confirm with everything that we do that we're thinking ahead. We combine things that typically are not easy to combine. So we combine a world-class education with accessibility to this kind of education and to those who deliver this education. We really produce theoretical and applied experts by bringing the two together. And we also promise the world as a public institution that what we do has impact. And the impact is not only that the work that we do, the graduates that we produce make a difference, is that they are all, that is part of their thinking as professionals, not what we do today, not what we have done yesterday, but what we are going to be doing tomorrow. So we have at William and Mary experienced a tremendous growth in computing, the interests of students in computing and adjacent areas, to the point that an institution like William and Mary that had a tradition in the social sciences and the humanities, which still remain very strong at William and Mary, now is predominantly a STEM institution. And this is, the distinctive advantage of William and Mary, that we do not just offer a typical STEM education. We offer STEM education steeped in the principles of the liberal arts and sciences, which include skills that are going to be necessary for any professional to have in order to succeed. And this is what our students get at William and Mary. And that's why we are fortunate enough to see exploding careers and leaders in the field that are William and Mary graduates. We have graduates that are still engaged with us, offering perspectives from their lives out there. And the out there is not as detached as it sounds, is part of how we do things. Our Vision 2026, which is our strategic plan moving forward, has identified 4 pillars, which are viewed more by me as umbrellas under which everybody can find a place to contribute. One of them is the data pillar. And data is a very broad term. So this is not limiting it to just what we do in in computing and computational fields, but it is a mindset that really permeates a lot of the things that we do. Also, to establish an institution that knows what it is, where to go, and how to get there. We have a lot of great opportunities lying ahead for our institution and our students. And I have to say that our students have asked to delve deeper in areas that are very paramount for a degree and education in computer science. They have asked us to do more in that, and we're delivering. I don't know how many of you are aware that we are in the process of establishing a new school at William and Mary, a school in computing, data science, that also includes applied science and computational fields like physics. So the reason why we're doing this is not just to really, restructure what we have, but it's also because of the growth that we've experienced, because of the opportunities that come with having an academic unit dedicated to areas that need special attention and a special way of being supported, and but also because we want to be present. And we want to be present and known in areas where so far the world hasn't realized what's happening at William and Mary. And that's what we are pursuing and we hope to accomplish. Again, within the framework of a strong liberal arts and sciences education that provides skill sets that are invaluable in your future as graduates. There is a lot of excitement, and I don't need to really tell you more to communicate how excited we all are, both for what's happening today, but also what's coming up. We also have a new facility that is coming in, a wonderful new high-tech building that is coming. It's already started being built, and it's going to be ready in a year and a half. This is where Parts of our new school, particularly computer science, will be housed state-of-the-art facility that connects very well with state-of-the-art education and experiences that we provide in computer science. So I don't want to take too much of your time. You're not here to listen to me, but I just wanted to give you a perspective from my vantage point that gets me going and keeping me excited for the future to come. So I want to encourage you to participate actively, those of you who are here today, and thank you for spending your Saturday morning with us, but also those who are virtually connected with us. Take the time to listen, to delve deeper into what you hear, to interact, and also to learn. Because becoming part of the tribe, the William and Mary tribe, it's a path towards excellence that will lead you to achievements that will shape the rest of your lives. So I want to wish you everyone a very exciting and engaging symposium. And I really urge you to use today as a stepping stone for a future that is rich with possibilities and achievements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Provost Agouris. We will continue with the remarks of the graduate dean. So.
Good morning. I'm Chris Carone, the Vice Dean for Research and Graduate Studies in Arts and Sciences at William & Mary. I'm happy to welcome you to William & Mary's second Computer Science Symposium for Graduate Studies. I'd like to say a few words about William & Mary as an institution. Although for historical reasons, we have the word college in our name, we are a premier public research university with graduate degrees offered in arts and sciences, the School of Business, the School of Education, the Law School, and the School of Marine Science. Within arts and sciences, computer science is one of 11 graduate degree granting departments or programs, and is one of 6 who award the doctoral degree. Ever since I came to William & Mary 26 years ago, I was told that our doctoral degree granting departments, including ones that also give master's degrees, were special, and that only those departments who could justify such a program based on the excellence of their faculty and the unusual impact of their research would be approved to award these advanced degrees. My own department, physics, is one of the other departments at William & Mary that falls in this category, so I know firsthand what this means. Departments like physics and computer science compete for faculty with R1 research universities, a designation reserved for those that are the most research active. And departments like computer science hold the same standards for the quality of the research done by the faculty and their students. I used to be impressed at how faculty in my department periodically received prestigious grants like the National Science Foundation Career Awards, only to learn that in computer science, almost all the new young faculty were receiving those awards. Computer science is a department which, in my view, is in its ascendancy at William & Mary, tapping into a growing national demand for workers with skills in programming, computation, and data science. Unlike other universities that provide an education and degrees in these areas, William & Mary is unique in that its faculty are expected to excel equally in both teaching and research, something that's reinforced by our faculty merit system, which takes into account how well we teach in determining our pay raises. Although you may have heard of William & Mary's reputation for excellence in teaching when people speak of its undergraduate program, the faculty are the same, and the excellence in instruction is also reflected in the quality of the classes you take as a graduate student, ones that are critical for teaching you the foundations of your discipline. You will also see that excellence in the quality of our faculty's research seminars that you might attend, which are valuable in providing you with a more advanced perspective. One of the exciting developments in the past year has been a proposal for the creation of a new school at William & Mary that involves the computer science, data science, applied science, and physics departments. The creation of a new school, the first in many decades, is an indication of William & Mary's commitment to these doctoral granting research-focused units, and will likely facilitate future growth in these areas. It will also exploit natural synergies with the $300 million to $500 million high-performance data facility that the US Department of Energy recently announced will reside at Jefferson Lab, a major national laboratory that's 20 minutes away in Newport News. Finally, from a non-academic point of view, joining the William and Mary community places you in a pleasant small city environment in an area whose history was of importance to the founding of our nation. But if that doesn't resonate with you, you also have convenient access to larger cities on the East Coast via the Amtrak station next to campus. I've enjoyed my many years at William and Mary, and I believe our graduate students enjoy their time here as well. I hope you enjoy the Computer Science Symposium today, and you will strongly consider graduate studies in our Computer Science department in your near future. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So I will continue with actually some William and Mary fast facts. 1693, and actually February 8, 1693. This is when King William III and Queen Mary II of England signed the charter to create a university in Williamsburg, Virginia. William and Mary is the second oldest institution in the United States, right after Harvard. So we are the kind of place that has really lots of history. We have, I'll just talk a little bit about, some of our landmarks. The Wren building, which has been designed and built by Sir Christopher Wren. This is the oldest college building still standing in America. And Sir Christopher Wren is the same architect who built several landmarks in London. The Greenwich Observatory is one of them. St. Paul's Cathedral is another one. So we do have a very, I would say, strong relationship with the past. And we're also known as the alma mater of the nation. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Tyler, James Monroe, they have been students at William and Mary. And as I hope those of you who are interested in our program will be. And of course, as also Provost Agouris mentioned, we're a public ivy, one of the few in the nation. This is an X-ray of the department. So moving now into computer science, who we are and what we do. And these are like some fast facts. This is information about the faculty and student body, information that comes from spring and fall 2023. You can see like the constitution of our students. So as of fall 2023, 344 undergraduate students with some actually great demographics. Especially proud of the fact that 31% of our undergraduate students are women, 1 in 3. This is very different from the national average of 22%. 18% Pell students, 14% first generation, 7% Black, 7% Hispanic. So in all these categories, we are above the national averages. And also we have 45% students who self-identify as students of color, which is quite impressive. Now, of course, since you are interested in graduate studies, you would be also most interested about our graduate population. So we have 107 graduate students, 68 of them are PhD students, 32% masters, and then we have also, also the demographics of those students. You can see them on the slide. I'd like to talk a little bit about our PhD placement, because William and Mary, all these years, according to the Carnegie classification, we are an R2 institute. We used to be an R2 institution. Now, with the newest one, we are elevated into R1. But William and Mary, computer science at William and Mary, had always been an R1 department. And also, it's also shown by the placement of our PhDs. They get positions at R1 universities, many of them. Actually, we have here an alumnus who is a professor at Notre Dame. He's here with us. Colin, would you like to? Yep, there he is. He's sitting at the back. So Colin is an associate professor of computer science at Notre Dame. And he's one of those who actually get their PhD here and then they go to better ranked departments than us, and they do really great. So you can really see like the excellence of our program, and that's like they reflect on our alumni. Also, several of our students, they are placed into liberal arts colleges, and of course in industry. Every single big corporation in America, in tech, they have PhD, masters and PhD alumni from William and Mary, and also government. The faculty, we are a small faculty, 23 tenure track faculty, 5 teaching track. And the fact that we are small, relatively small, actually makes us special. Because despite the size, there is lots of excellence in our fields, and I'm going to talk about this thing. But this small size allows us to give us this very personal one-to-one mentoring to our graduate students. So what we really think is like a PhD in computer science is very close to an apprenticeship, right? So you get to learn from your mentor, your PhD advisor, and this like small size is exactly what allows us to put a lot of emphasis on mentoring our students and doing very well. And this is why then when they graduate, they are meant to do like great things, and they do. All right, so research areas where we are active. So this is a list of areas. Cybersecurity is a big one. Software engineering, another one. Systems and high-performance computing, another place when we're doing great. Sensor networks, wearable computing, and of course, machine learning, data mining. No university can be without machine learning and data mining these days. Graphics, computational sciences, data analytics, and human-computer interaction. So I invite all of you who are here and visiting to find the faculty who are here among us and talk to them about their research. You will have, of course, the opportunity later on to see the latest and greatest things that they are doing through their lightning talks. And of course, we have also the poster session when our graduate students will showcase their work. I'd like to talk a little bit about the research excellence of our faculty. The first factoid is like all faculty who we hired since 2004 received at least one prestigious career award. All of them NSF career awards, and some also career awards from DOE, DOE career awards. So this is like a pretty impressive kind of factoid, but speaks about the excellence, research excellence. We have, our faculty have ICM and IEEE honorifics. We have 3 IEEE fellows. I hope more are going to come. And this is, again, percentage-wise, given the size of our faculty, this is a very impressive, again, fact that speaks about excellence. And of course, we are known for everything like editorships in ACM, IEEE, IAM journals, flagship conference leadership, and best papers yearly. Some of computer science faculty really collect these best paper awards as if they're candy, really. It's pretty impressive. We have a lot of research expenditures. I hope that this number always fluctuates upwards always. So maybe it's not as accurate when I prepared this slide because more new things came and more money came, but this is great things because it's this research money, these research grants that are supporting the graduate students. And the fact that faculty get these sizable big research grants means that their research ideas have been vetted by the community, and they are very good research ideas. And these are exactly the kinds of things that you want to work on to work on your PhD, essentially, PhD ideas. So we also have a little bit how many degrees have been conferred. So typically we graduate between 10 and 20 master students every year, and around 8 to 12 PhD students. And these are the numbers that you can see on the slide for the past 4 years. And of course, like, we have several activities that happen at the undergraduate level, but I'm not going to go over them over here. All right, so a little bit more about the computers, about the population at CS at William and Mary. We have had like 174 PhDs, and in 2023 we celebrated the 30 years from the first PhD at William and Mary. So yes, we've been giving PhDs for a while now, and we've been actually quite well, well trained to do that. This is why we're so successful, I hope. We have, as everywhere else in the United States, our populations have been following the national trends, and we have been increasing every year. We're very fortunate to be supported by the state of Virginia from the Tech Talent Program. This is the TTIP. And this has a certain targets to generate a certain number of bachelor students per year. And we've been doing actually very well in meeting the targets much earlier. And this is where like a lot of funding comes from directly to computer science from the state. The mission statement is excellence in research. So essentially, we've all these years, we have been in our one department. High quality research, publications, and grants. We always focus on quality rather than quantity. We have I've already talked about this sign of quality, the career awards. And then we have excellence in teaching, advising, and mentorship. And this is something that you're going to hear about this thing throughout the day quite a bit. Professor Poshyvanyk, the graduate director, is going to talk about this. And then also the faculty later on in the faculty panels and in the lightning talks, you will be able to see that. We have several graduate programs. We have a PhD program, so you can get directly into the PhD after your bachelor's in a computer science related field, or you can do an MS/PhD, which is like a combination of the 2 degrees, essentially a 2-step process. And of course, we have just a master's degree for CS majors, and also MS pathways for non-CS majors. And these are topics that Professor Poshyvanyk is going he's going to expand on these things in detail. So this is all that I had to say about our department, a quick, X-ray of who we are and what we are doing. And I'd like to invite to the podium Professor Poshyvanyk to continue on talking about the grad program.
So thank you, Evgenia. Again, my name is Poshyvanyk. I'm currently graduate director, and I would like to welcome everybody. We're extremely excited to have you all here with us today, and I'm personally incredibly encouraged by the trajectory we are on as a department. You've heard Professor Agouris and Professor Smirni outlining how much the college is investing into our department, our program, and we're just incredibly excited by all the opportunities. So I'll try to expand on some of the topics, and of course, I'll try not to repeat the things that have been said, but you see that our numbers look very strong, but what is even more encouraging is positive trajectory that we are on. We have extremely energetic faculty members. We are a young department in the sense that we have hired quite a few new faculty members who are incredibly energetic. They're looking for students right now. Again, we're expanding as well. So we're going to be hiring in areas like software engineering and machine learning and systems in the years to come. So this is all incredibly exciting. Again, we are R1 department, strong research culture, which has been with us for a long time. We cherish this very much. We place emphasis on quality over quantity, and as you can see, there's a lot of evidence supporting that. Another point which I would like to highlight is our external visibility. As a student who is looking for a graduate program, and you are in those shoes right now, you're probably looking into rankings, right? And there are multiple sources you can go check out US News, and one of those rankings is actually CS rankings. And if you go on that website and look us up, we actually fairly strongly rank, and I'll show you those numbers later. But you'll also see some other evidence, like our faculty, again, our associate editors or editors-in-chief at the major journals in the field. Again, we are collecting best papers, but not only best papers, also most influential papers in the sense that those papers have stood test of time. And again, many great stories to tell. These are research areas that Professor Smirni already mentioned. And as far as rankings, and this is data-driven strategy to rank computer science department out there by publications and in top venues, in those respective top venues, you'll actually see that we are ranked fairly highly. And this is actually in contrast to US News, right? Because US News is not necessarily taking into account research productivity, but also other factors. But if you look into research areas in the 10 last years, we're ranked very highly in certain areas like high performance computing, computer graphics, security, software engineering, mobile computing, and architectures. And again, we are literally competing with departments who have more faculty in those areas and who have more students. So we would like to say that we're trying really hard to pull beyond our weight in some of these areas. Again, we're very proud of our students. We are accountable for every student that we get into our program. So we're not like one of those big departments out there who admits, dozens or hundreds of students every year, and they place them in those labs, and if you don't make it, that's okay. There are lots of examples out there. We don't have necessarily that philosophy. We know everybody's name in the program, and we're accountable for every graduate student in our program. So that's the way we would like to think. And that results in many success stories. Our students get jobs, as Evgenia said, in departments which are high ranked than us, Northeastern, UVA, Notre Dame, and many other places. And our former students don't just get jobs there, they get tenure at those places. They got career awards, they got other points of recognition. So we don't just prepare them to get a job, we prepare them to get a career. And this is a very important point that we'd like to emphasize. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that if you join William & Mary, we promise that you'll be in good hands, okay? So let's talk a little bit about the graduate program, and I'll talk about various options that you have, and then I'll try to answer some of the questions that students frequently ask us when they email us about the program, and hopefully that will also generate some points for discussion later on in the day. So obviously we're very proud of our PhD program, and hopefully many of you are interested in joining our PhD program. We have most of the faculty members attending with us today. That's your chance to talk to those faculty members, the research areas, and to learn more firsthand the experience about our program. We also have multiple options for obtaining master's degrees. We have regular master's in computer science program, usually takes 2 years to complete. We have 1 year master's program specifically designed for William & Mary undergraduate students who have an option to actually complete this master's program in 1 year if you're strategic about selecting classes early on. We also have master's in computer science, computational operations research specialization. And we have masters in computer science and computational science specialization. And most recently, we've also created a computer science pathway, which is a special program for those students who don't have formal educational degree in computer science. And if some of you have undergraduate degree in some other area but are interested in moving into computer science, that's exactly a program for you. And we even have students who are currently in this program who are thinking longer term, who are thinking about closing this gap in terms of undergraduate education and on moving on not just to getting masters, but also to getting PhD, which is very exciting and also an option that we support. As far as, let me quickly talk about PhD and MS/PhD. This is a typical timeline. So a really nice thing about our department, and we're very proud of this model. And in fact, when we get faculty speakers from other universities who come here and they learn about our department, they always emphasize this part, which I think we got right. And this is the model where every incoming PhD or MS/PhD student will be hired as a teaching assistant for the first 2 years. We really think this is a good model because it has been proven in time, because we don't put necessarily immediate pressure on the student to select advisor from day number one, because sometimes it takes time, right? Sometimes students need to take classes. They need to figure out what is going on in the department. They need to talk to different faculty members, take their classes, maybe even work on projects. So this is why we have this model in place. So the students have a couple semesters to really figure out what they're passionate about and which particular area they would like to work in. As far as classes that you need to take, you will need to take 8 classes, typically 3 classes in fall, spring, and then 2 more classes in fall if everything goes well. And for a MS/PhD program, you will need to take 12 classes. Also, in your first summer, you will be automatically supported by research fellowship. You will take you'll have no classes in summer, but you will need to pick a faculty member to closely work on a research project. Ideally, that will be your PhD advisor down the road, but it doesn't have to be. But this is really a unique opportunity, fully funded opportunity for you to work full time on research in your first summer. And again, many students basically have advisors coming out of that first summer. Some students find advisors earlier. Some students come here already knowing an advisor, but that's not exactly the model that we run here, because every student that we admit is admitted to the department. And when you're admitted to the department, you have no obligation to work with faculty from day number one. We really give you freedom to explore everything we have here before you make a formal commitment. So candidacy typically is achieved by the fourth semester. Some early birds declare candidacy in the third semester. For some people, it takes a little bit longer, which is totally fine. But usually by your fourth semester, you have your PhD advisor and you are working on a particular research area. After your fourth semester, you will be full-time research assistant working full-time in your research area with your advisor. So again, I list here some numbers which again vary depending on the area you're in, but typically students reach a proposal phase after having 2 strong publications. Typically, this happens sometime in the 3rd year, 4th year. But again, there is no a hard rule here. It depends on the area. It depends on how fast you progress, and we have multiple different cases. Typically, you defend in your 5th year, sometimes 6th year. And again, as you will learn, it depends on the area, on the student, and on the luck. Okay, but the sooner you get into the research, the better, because that gives you the chance to get to the finish line sooner. Again, typically our students, by the time they graduate, they have at least 3 strong publications. Some of our students have more, especially those students who aspire to join academia. They usually do more, and sometimes we have students who tell our advisors, no, I want to do more. I was very lucky to have students like that. Some of them are sitting in this room. So again, we are very encouraged by our students. If you had to ask me about one characteristics about our students, is that most of our students don't want to settle for minimum. They want to do more. And this is a culture, this is the spirit that we have, and we would like to keep it going. The next program that I would like to briefly cover, this is our master's program in computer science. This is our 2-year program. You have 2 options essentially here. The one is small classes, the other one with fewer classes. So one with a thesis, this is a little bit more research-oriented option. So this is a good option for those who potentially want to do PhD but not sure, and they really want to test waters. So this is the option that you choose, because you will need to write a thesis and defend it in front of the committee. And sometimes students who do that, they go through that experience and they say, well, I want to do more. It's not enough for me, and then they join our PhD program. Students who are primarily interested in industrial career after master's, they do 32 credit option without the thesis, just doing master's project. Again, as far as our course requirements, you will have to take algorithms plus at least 2 additional 600 classes, 600 level classes. And you also have an opportunity to take some of those 500 level classes, which are cross-listed with our upper level undergraduate level classes, but you'll be able to take no more than 12 credits out of those classes. And then some of those course options are really exciting. They're in cutting edge areas, so that's why master students also like taking those classes as well. This is master's program for William & Mary students. If you're a William & Mary student who is interested in getting master's in 1 year, you can do that. And this is really, really cool opportunity for you. So basically what you will need to do is by the end of your junior year, you need to register your interest in the program, and then you'll be assigned an advisor. And then in your senior year, you take any 2 of a set of 500 level classes, which again, you determine with the advisor. And during the fall of senior year, you apply for admission to the master's program. In my experience, pretty much all the students who went through this process get admitted if you've done well during your undergrad. So this is a fairly straightforward path for our own William & Mary students. And once you admit it, you will get a research advisor, academic advisor, who will guide you through the process. And again, in this master's program, you also have an option either to do a thesis or master's project. So this is a program that, again, newly created. It's called Computer Science Pathway Program, a bridge to master's program. And again, we are not unique in the sense of creating this program. We actually created this program after we joined the Pathway to Computing Consortium, and which was originally created, in fact, by Tracy Kemp, who is our alumni, and now she's a director of CRA. And she was the one who spearheaded this program, and naturally we got into this as well, because we see a lot of demand from these days from students who don't have a formal education in computer science but would like to be able to move into computer science. And that's exactly the pathway that we've designed and we offer to students these days. So basically the idea here is that you apply to our CS Pathway program, and it doesn't matter what background you have. Some students who apply to this program have very little formal background in computer science, and good news is that we can make it happen. We evaluate every application on case-by-case basis, and we determine which classes you need to take to make up for the difference before you can proceed with master's degree. Again, in the past, the way it worked, you would be admitted as an unclassified student, where you build the background before you can actually apply for admission into the program. Now, you're basically directly admitted into the program, and we will determine individual plan for you in terms of which undergraduate classes you need to take. And after you complete those classes, you don't need to reapply. You automatically proceed with taking master's level classes to get your master's degree. We also have individual support through teaching assistant. Thanks to help from Provost office, we got additional TAs who are helping with this program right now, and also Dean's office who allowed us to use TPI funding for this purpose, which hopefully will continue to support this program and our graduate program overall. Usually it takes one additional summer and one additional semester to complete this degree. Again, this varies based on your experience. If you're missing several classes, you can quickly close the gap. In those cases where you have only introductory class to computing, then you probably need to take more classes. But again, we will work individually with every student admitted into this program. And William & Mary is part of the MS Pathways to Computing Consortium. So I would like to say we know what we're doing because we're participating in these meetings. We have monthly meetings with a whole bunch of other members like Georgia Tech, Columbia, Northeastern, and many other universities who are joining this consortium. So we share our experiences and we try to use best practices from other institutions who are currently involved in this program. So now let me quickly talk about more about the department and what it means to be a PhD student, and probably some of the questions that you might have had about the program. So as Evgenia said, we focus on quality, okay? And quality in our case means the research that will have impact, okay? Not just research that will be published in top tier conferences and journals, but we are laser focused on producing research that will have measurable impact, okay? We want to keep increasing our visibility in research community. So that's why you will see our faculty serving on journal editorial boards, running conferences. We involve our students in these activities as well. You will see our students frequently presenting at these major conferences and events. And again, because we focus on quality, of course, quantity is important, but only if it comes with quality. We do that because we focus really on mentorship. As I said, and Professor Agouris and Smirni emphasized that we focus not only just on grading a student, we are focusing on enabling them to have all the necessary skills to succeed in their careers. And that's what we really care about, and that's what we're very proud of. We're very proud to hear back from our students all the success stories. And we're happy to say that our students are competitive. Every year they go on the job market, academic job market, industry job market, and they land great jobs. So our strengths are personalized mentoring, high matriculation rate. As I said, we know every student and we care about every single student. If we have a student who does not make it for whatever reason, usually what happens, graduate dean comes back and he asks me a question, what happened? And then we need to have a longer discussion. So we want every student to succeed in this program. So this is in contrast to some other larger programs which may not necessarily care about this aspect. We're very encouraged to have so many energetic and junior faculty members. In the past 2 years, we hired amazing faculty members who are here. You'll have a chance to talk to them. You'll have a chance to work with them if you join our department. And again, top quality research, excellent placement. So now, most of you, I assume, are undergraduate students, currently undergraduate students, or recently graduated and looking for graduate programs. So let me quickly talk about what it means to be a graduate student and what it means to be a graduate student in our department. So one of the first myths which I would like to dispel is that your undergraduate experience is probably or your graduate experience is probably going to be very different from your undergraduate experience, right? Because during your undergraduate classes, you primarily took classes, you had homework assignments, you had projects, you had finals. Your undergraduate program was probably very well structured. You had 4 years, you had exactly the plan, and every class was very well structured. In a sense, graduate education is going to be slightly different because obviously graduate level classes are going to be more challenging, more difficult. You'll also need to pick particular area and probably take classes which would be closer to the area that you're interested in. But also, your graduate education will be focused, once you're done with those classes, primarily on research. And your research experience will be drastically different from your undergraduate experience. And to some students, it comes as a shock that they successfully overcome without mentoring. And because sometimes they find out that you're going to work on the problem for which we don't have answers for. And then they are surprised, like, how come you are the advisor, you don't have an answer to this question? Because most likely it's an open-ended problem and we're trying to figure out the solution. So that's why timeline is going to differ. Some students are able to do it with flying colors faster, and that's okay. Maybe they lucked out on the research area. Maybe they got the topic that was more well-defined. But for some students, it may take longer because they worked on a much harder problem. And sometimes it's very hard to predict. It's very hard to predict and say, oh, it's going to take 2-3 years to get the solution to this problem. And sometimes it may get more, okay? As you'll find out, there is a publication process in place, right? There is major, minor revisions, and there is reject situations that we all have to deal with, okay? So this is normal, by the way. And but to some students, it comes as a shock that this is not highly predictable, well-defined trajectory. But on the positive side, that's what makes research is truly exciting, right? By the time you're done with this process, you'll really have a good sense of accomplishment. So in undergraduate classes, you probably have had assignments with very well-known solutions, and then professor finds a problem with a solution in mind. During your graduate research, it's going to be more like apprenticeship. It's going to be a lot of guidance by the professor. Sometimes you may even find your problem, or you may bring a problem to your advisor, which is sometimes happens. And you'll together with your group advisor, you will need to find a solution to a problem which may not have known solution, or you will need to significantly improve on existing solutions. And a cool part about it is that you're going to be building your own reputation. And another cool part about graduate education is that you're going to be building your resume with all those bullets that will stay with you forever, right? All those papers that you're going to publish during a PhD degree, they will stay with you forever, right? And that is something which is truly encouraging, because you're going to be building your portfolio during your academic career for the rest of your life, and the things that you will do during your PhD will matter. Okay, they will define to a certain degree your trajectory as a researcher. Another myth that I would like to dispel is, and I hear this from students all over the time. They say graduate school is expensive. I cannot afford it. Right? I have some loans from my undergraduate education, and I cannot afford taking on more loans. The good news is that if you get admitted into the PhD program, you will not need to pay for your graduate education, because you will be teaching assistant for the first 2 years, and then you will be research assistant thereafter. You'll be paid a stipend, and I'll show you those numbers later, and your tuition will be covered, okay? Being a teaching assistant means that you will need to work for approximately 20 hours per week as a grader or as an instructor. And the rest of the time, obviously, you spend on classes and research. But if you decide to do graduate school, you're going to get competitive stipend, and we're very proud that our stipends are competitive to other institutions. We have huge administrative support from upper administration. We keep increasing our stipends, and it's going to happen again. They're working on exact percentage, but we're trying to make our stipends competitive and adjusted for the cost of living. Tuition is fully covered. We also provide health insurance, which is again great. Thanks to administration, we used to cover health insurance from only for A's. Now we are covering it for TAs. So the moment you join the department, you'll also have health insurance covered. Good news is that cost of living in Williamsburg is also lower as compared to big metropolitan areas, and typically gets similar, same stipend. So usually this is good news for our students. So as far as 9 months stipend, this is our current 9 month stipend. By the time you join in fall 2024, it will be higher number because it will be adjusted. This is a summer fellowship number, and this is total annual stipend. And as you can see, tuition, which is out of state currently, is $36,000. It will be also covered by the program. Health insurance. So basically, in the end, once you join the program, that's the total value, roughly speaking, of the package that you are getting. Okay. Again, once you become a research assistant, there is an opportunity to make more during the summer. That typically depends on your standing in the program, and also obviously on the funding that your advisor will have, and also your progress in the degree. So another myth that I would like to dispel, how graduate education is different from undergraduate education or from a regular job out there. It's not 9-to-5 job, because faculty will tell you research never stops, okay? Especially with the advent of tools like Slack, right? So when my students send me messages, sometimes they are later, so forth and so on, but it kind of never stops, right? It's the flow of ideas. And on one hand, that's sometimes difficult, but sometimes it's very exciting, right? You know that you're doing something important and you're part of the exciting research. So sometimes it's kind of hard to stop exactly at 5, right? But also exciting part is that you're gonna build friendships. You're gonna meet lots of your friends here in the department, conferences, by taking classes together, by working on research projects together, and by working with people in your research lab and knowing other students. So it's really, really exciting process. It's not just your work. It's not just the research that you do. As some students know who attended conferences, it's also fun, right? When you go to conferences, present your work, meet other people, meet other researchers, it's incredibly rewarding experience to see that your work is appreciated, that your research is appreciated, and you're really making the difference in things that you do. Another myth that I would like to quickly dispel is that graduate school does not necessarily mean that you'll have to become a professor. There are many other meaningful ways how you can what you can do after graduate school. As you can see, this is a recent graphics from CRA. It shows that recently industrial jobs, and particular research jobs, have been on the uptick. But also, you can see that placements in academia is still fairly strong, and there are many other opportunities. Our students join national labs and startups and government-related positions and jobs, which again, you don't have to have perfect GPA to get into. It's great that if you have, that's really good, very encouraging, but you don't have to. The things that we really value in this program is your motivation, ambition, and passion. Those things will make up for less than perfect GPA, okay? And one truth, which I usually tell students later, I don't usually tell them that in the first year, but I'll tell you now, is that your GPA only matters until a certain point, right? Your GPA will matter until you take those classes to advance to candidacy. In our department, by the way, if I forgot to mention, we don't have a qualifying exam. So, but you need to obtain 3.7 GPA to advance to candidacy status. So you need to obtain 3.7 in 7 out of 8 classes. And the good news is that we don't have a separate qualifying exam. So the bottom line is that perfect GPA is not important. And at some point in time, GPA will not matter. GPA will not matter. But what will matter is the research that you do, the impact of the research that you do. These are things that will stay for you for the rest of your life. Once you become faculty out there, nobody will ask you what kind of GPA did you have during your undergrad or during your graduate. People will pay attention to papers that you've produced, impact that those papers have had. So motivation, ambition, and passion, these are things that we want to see in our students, and these are things that matter in the long run. Some students say, well, I really want PhD, but I can't because I don't have master's. Good news is that you don't need to have master's to get into our PhD program. You can apply directly from bachelor's to PhD. There is still an option to apply to master's/PhD programs, so you have an option to get master's on the way. But some students apply directly to PhD, and they say, I'm convinced that's what I want to do. And they just go directly for master's. And again, but if you have slight doubts and you want to explore research first before committing, we do have a math// option available. Some students say, well, I want to do PhD, but I don't really know research area that I want to work with in. And that's fine. Many of our students who come to a program, they think that they know what they want to do, and that changes by the time they get into the program. Because the tricky part about research is not just research that you do. It's not just research that you love, but you also need to find an advisor who you're comfortable with and you would like to work with, because it's literally lifelong relationship, right? I mean, once you graduate, you still end up meeting your advisor somewhere at conferences or talking to them, etc., etc. So you probably want to work with somebody who you want to build a good relationship with and enjoy working with for 5 years. Okay, so sometimes when you come here and you think, oh, I want to do, I don't know, machine learning, right? And you end up doing systems. Okay, it's totally fine. That's why we have this model in place. That's why we give you freedom. You join our program, and we give you literally 4 semesters. Of course, we hope that you will make your decision or make up your mind sooner, but we give you 4 semesters to explore, work with people on different projects, and really make up your mind. That goes back to that slide about motivation, ambition, and passion. We really want you to know exactly that what you're doing is you like it, you're passionate about it, and you're pretty sure about the advisor that you're going to be working with. Okay, this is the model that we have in place. This is a model which has been tested by time, and I think that this is a model that really works, and you can really take advantage of this model by joining William and Mary. Again, that's pretty much all I had. But in addition to that, I just wanted to give you a couple of very quick tips as far as preparing strong application for PhD admission at William and Mary. And again, I just want to talk a little bit from the admissions committee point of view. These are things that we're paying attention to. And again, other schools that you might be applying to will be paying attention to similar things. So what we're looking for in your application is we're looking for some evidence of prior research experience, publications even. But again, this is not required. If you don't have publications, please don't be discouraged and say, well, I'm not going to apply because all the students I know have publications around me who apply to graduate program. I know that this has been becoming a norm in the past years. Other faculty at other institutions I'm talking to, they, in fact, very recently we spoke with some people who say literally they expect a publication before somebody can apply to PhD. That's not the case at William and Mary, okay? At William and Mary, we've been, in particular, in computer science department, we've been really good in terms of finding diamonds in the rough students who may not have a publication at this point in time, but who are really passionate about research, who are really motivated, okay? And these are kind of students we've been very lucky to recruit in our program, right? So your job is to articulate all that in your statement of purpose. Of course, if you have evidence like publications or significant research, that's great to put, but if you don't, please make sure to articulate things like passion and motivation in your statement. We want you to again, this is probably comes later in your career to become a leader or have leadership. But this is we would like to see evidence that you would like to do more things, right? We would like to see evidence of you being creative, hardworking, persistent. These are qualities which are extremely important during your PhD studies. Some people say, well, I don't think I'm creative enough. I don't think I can come up with new ideas. And to tell you the truth, in your early ages of PhD program, creativity probably matters less than things like hardworking and being persistent, okay? New ideas, this is something that usually comes later, towards the end of your PhD, towards maybe when you become faculty. But usually in the first few years, nobody expects you here at William and Mary to start coming up with new ideas. Usually you join the lab, you join a train which is already moving, okay? And it's an analogy, sort of you're jumping on this train and you're moving with the train, and then you learn in the process, and eventually that happens. I mean, in my own experience, usually students, when they're able to come up with really good ideas, that's kind of the time that they're ready to graduate, okay? And for us, the faculty, it's sort of, we feel sad, right? By the time our students get to the point when they come up with their own ideas, we have to tell them bye, because they're ready to go and they're ready to graduate. But that's part of the process. The 4 major application components are personal statements, your transcripts, letters of recommendation, and test scores. Luckily, for some of these test scores, we've eliminated GREs, as many other universities out there, so you don't need to take extra exam. If you're an international student, you'll still need to take TOEFL unless you have undergraduate degree from the United States. In that case, we're going to waive it. But again, things that will matter here is, of course, your grades will matter, but what will matter even more is your personal statement. We are interested in your story. We are interested to see what led you to graduate school, and we're interested to see evidence that you're really passionate about research and you want to do more, okay? And you want to have impact. Of course, letters of recommendation will be important. As far as personal statement, again, describe your research experience, mention if you've built some software in the past, mention some software project that you participated in classes and outside of classes. Describe your future research interests, but you don't have to mention things like, oh, I want to work with a professor A and B, because you're not going to be admitted to somebody's lab. You're going to be admitted to the department. It's okay to mention that you're interested in somebody's research, but again, you'll have an opportunity to literally work with anybody you want before you lock in on the research area. Make it personal or unique to you, and obviously try to personalize your statement. Don't just send generic statement to every school. Tell us why you're interested in William & Mary. Getting strong letters of recommendation is important. We require 3 full letters. Make sure those letters are from faculty with whom you had an opportunity to work on research-related projects. If not, then at least make sure to ask people who have seen you working on significant projects, because that's something that we use as evidence of your ability to do significant research. Make sure each letter counts. Letters from other disciplines are fine. But also make sure that you have letters from computer science professors. And if you had internships, that's also fine. But make sure that your letters are not just from your internships. Again, make sure to get strong recommendation letters. We read all those letters. Those letters matter. So why William & Mary? And I'm going to leave you with these questions that hopefully you will ask throughout the day. I'm sure you have your own long list of questions, but questions here are there faculty in your desired research area? Are they taking new students? What is atmosphere like in the department, lab? Is it competitive? Is it collaborative? I know the answer to that question, but I encourage you to figure it out on your own today. How frequently do students meet with the advisor? Is the advisor helpful? Are students in the department excited about their research? Do you have to work with advisors who currently have funding? How many years of funding are guaranteed with good progress? And what is the cost of living? These are all the questions that you should be asking as a prospective graduate student. And as Evgenia mentioned, and Professor Agouris will be moving into this beautiful building in fall 2025. And we are all incredibly excited. Again, not just about the building, but about the trajectory our department is on. And with all that, I would like to conclude my talk. Thank you.
And Dennis will be here to answer your questions. Any questions? Don't be shy. Question there.
What is the difference between the MS PhD program and going straight from a Bachelor of Science to a PhD program?
So the main difference is that if you go for a MS/PhD program, you get masters on the way. Okay. Right. Also, it matters a little bit from the funding perspective, right? So basically, students who we admit into the PhD program, we guarantee funding for them, and they must be funded unless they have a full-time job in industry. So that's the only exception, right? We do have a few part-time PhD students who don't have to have funding because they have full-time jobs. But typically, students who go for a MS/PhD program, they're students who want to do PhD, but they're not 100% sure, okay? And they want to have this option to be able to decide. Usually the decision is made by the end of the first year, okay?
And the courses you take for the PhD program, I believe it's 10 courses, and then the rest is research. And then for the master's would be 8, yes?
Correct, yes.
So there is overlap in those 10 courses if you go straight to a PhD?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Is there any value in having the master's degree and a PhD, or is it seen the same if you just have a PhD and no master's?
No, I mean, if you have PhD, nobody will look into your CV and say, "Oh, they have masters," and that's a plus.
Okay.
That's absolutely not necessary if the PhD is your final
Okay.
destination. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question about like the courses. Like basically, because when I was doing research, I quickly found out that my research doesn't. Sometimes it really needs some languaging. No, like needs some knowledge in other disciplines like math, statistics. Would the CS PhD program like course requirement? Can I take courses outside of EECS department?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can, and you will need to get special approval from the graduate director and the chair. But yes, it's possible. In fact, we do have students who are currently interested in areas like at the intersection of computer science and neuroscience, or computer science and computational linguistics. So we have some special cases, and we allow students to take those classes outside of the department. As far as those courses being counted for the degree, that's a separate question. But if you need to take some classes to build your expertise in those areas, you can do that. But you will need to take 8 computer science classes, and for your candidacy, for 7 out of those 8 classes in computer science, you need to obtain 3.7 GPA. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes. I have another question about like the RA. So for the RA position, you work with your advisors,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay.
Full-time research, so no teaching responsibilities involved. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that.
And by the way, something which I forgot to mention, that in some cases you're a teaching assistant for the first 2 years, but we do have some rare cases when students are able to move to research assistantship sooner than that. We have cases where students are being moved to research assistantship in the 4th semester or even in the 3rd semester. Okay, it depends on your unique case and depends on how fast you're able to take all the classes and things like that. But it's not cut in stone that you have to be teaching research assistant after 4th semester. It can happen earlier. It depends on your advisor, your area, your progress in degree, and a couple other factors. Okay.
Good morning. Okay, I am an associate professor of information technology at Old Dominion University. I'm also an adjunct professor of University of Science and Technology of China. But here, okay, today I ask a question on behalf of international students. The student currently is undergraduate student in the North Eastern University in China. He did summer internship with me, and he may be interested in apply at William Mary. I told him these are very good universities. So, is there any score for the English test requirements like the TOEFL or GRE for international students?
Yes, we so GRE is not required. We got rid of GRE, so you don't have to. I mean, you can still take it and submit it, but we officially not taking that into account. So, but for TOEFL, yes, you need to take TOEFL, absolutely. The only exception is people who have undergraduate degree from the United States or took at least 2 years worth of classes in the U.S. University setting, or coming from a country where English was official language of instruction during the undergraduate degree, we're able to waive TOEFL requirement for those students. However, students need to petition for a TOEFL waiver. But for example, I can tell you for sure, students coming from China, they have to take TOEFL because usually English is not the official language of instruction in that country, right? So basically, it has to be not just university, but it has to be country where the language is official language of instruction. So the reason why we do that is obviously we want to make sure students who get into the program, they can effectively communicate. In particular, this is important for PhD students, right, who will be teaching assistants, right? We want to make sure that they can communicate also to undergraduate students in those classes they're teaching for. But as far as exact bar for TOEFL, you can go to our admissions are this requirements are the same for every graduate program in the college. So this is not our unique requirement. All graduate programs at William & Mary have exactly the same bar for the minimum TOEFL score. Of course, the higher score you have, the better. Another important point to mention here is that every international student, even if they have very high TOEFL, who come here, they will need to take a test, right? When they're here on campus, our internal test. And if they pass the test, they're fine. But if they don't pass the test, they may need to take additional English classes, just to make sure they, they have adequate level communication skills to proceed with research and teaching. And this is, again, on top of the classes that they take. So this is not a major effort, usually. And many of the students who take those classes benefit greatly.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, it's very helpful. Okay.
I have some virtual question that Trevor gonna ask. So while he prepared those questions, I have a quick question for you. Is there any other fellowship that student can get while they're still on TA or RA, like some very talented student?
Thank you, Pradeep. This is an excellent question. So recently, we have several fellowships which have been fairly well established. One is Zabel Fellowship. Those fellowships are limited. I think we have 5 fellowships that are given away across all the graduate programs. And every year we have at least one computer science student getting that fellowship. I believe it's $5,000 on top of your stipend plus some research expenditures. Also, recently, the department has created a number of recruitment fellowships. Okay, so for some of the students, and again, some of you will have offers from other universities, right? And of course, we want to have you here. So for some students who have been ranked very highly during the admission process, we have some additional fellowships, which we call recruitment fellowships. So yeah, there are additional opportunities as well. Also, one thing which I would like to mention is if you are a domestic student, you will qualify for Virginia Space Grant Fellowships, and we have really good track record of students getting those fellowships. Again, those fellowships are on top of your stipend. So if you're a domestic student, if you are in a MS/PhD program, and you have research area established, we have really good track record of our students getting those fellowships. I think Trevor is our current recipient of the fellowship. You can talk to him. In fact, Colin, many years ago, you were a recipient of that fellowship. So I'm sure I'm missing some students. Yes, Heather is also a recipient of. Please raise your hand if you are a recipient of this fellowship. So you can talk to these people. They know exactly what needs to be done to get it. But this is an amazing opportunity for domestic students.
All right, so we've got a question from the online group. This relates to the TOEFL exam that you were just talking about. So the person asks, if someone takes the IELTS General and they score well, will they still be eligible for the PhD in CS, or are they going to have to take the separate IELTS Academic or the TOEFL exam?
So we have TOEFL requirement, and I need to go exactly check admissions requirement that we have for the college. If there is a version, comparable version, internationally accepted, I believe that's the version that they're mentioning in the question, right? I think we will consider that. So if you have a specific question like that, just send me an email and I'll look into your particular case. Okay. We usually have very few of those exceptions. Yes. We accept it. I just don't remember exactly the bar. Yeah.
All right, so we had another question earlier on, and I think you touched on this already, but just for the sake of clarity, I'll ask it. So this person asked, is it possible for students to just start off as being an RA, like from the beginning, or are all students admitted as TAs and then become RAs later on?
It is possible. It is very rare, but it is possible. I mean, and if you're interested in nitty-gritty details, the reason why it is difficult to do it from semester number one, because if, let's say, faculty hires you as research assistant, you will still need to take those classes, right? And typically, the PI would also need to pay tuition for the classes you're taking. One fact about William & Mary is that from your advisor PI perspective, once you're taking classes, it's relatively high tuition that they need to pay. But once you're done with classes and you move to candidacy status, it's a very nominal fee for the TA for once you become a research assistant. So the answer to your question, yes, it is possible. We will obviously entertain that option if the faculty wants to do it from day number one. Any faculty can do that. In fact, if they have funding and if they have immediate urgent project, they can do that. But the reason why it doesn't happen often is because of the model that we have in place, and also high cost of tuition that usually is paid on your behalf while you're still taking classes. Okay.
So I think, do we have time for one more?
Yes.
So this question is about the application fee, and they're asking if there's any provision that the fee might be waived for people that attended the symposium.
I think if I understand correctly, we will waive, right, the fee for Oscar may know exact details.
We'll answer that question like throughout the day.
Okay,
We need to
yes.
confirm with Vanessa for sure.
Yes, so let's defer on that answer, but we will answer the question by the end of the day. Yes. This is something that we've been thinking about, but we need to confirm. Yes.
This is not the end. You guys can still meet us and ask questions throughout the day, or you can also send us email later, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. Now, since we were running a little bit late, so let's have a break for 10 minutes, and let's gather again at 11:10 sharp.